So welcome to MLT online classes. So in this lecture, we are going to discuss about classification of fungi. So let us see how this fungus is classified and how they are divided. So let us start. So basically the fungi is classified into two types, taxonomical classification and morphological classification. So taxonomical classification means it is a system where the animals, the living organisms are classified into different types of groups. So let us see how this fungus is classified. So all fungi are placed under the phylum Talophyta. So let us see this classification. So in the taxonomy, the fungi belongs to the phylum Talophyta. So this Talophyta contains plant-like organisms, but they are not plants. So they look like plants. So they doesn't have a, a correct roots, shoots, or they doesn't have a proper plant parts, but they resembles like plants. So that is why all the fungi are kept under Talophyta. So within the Talophyta, we have four classes. So the four classes of fungi are your zygomycetes, basidiomycetes, ascomycetes, and deuteromycetes. So we can see individually in detail one by one. So as I said, the Talophyta doesn't contain definite root, stem, and leaf structures. So in this Talophyta, we have two types. First one is fungi, the organisms that doesn't contain chlorophyll, and the organisms that are contain chlorophyll. If the organism has chlorophyll means they are called as algae, and if they does not have chlorophyll means they are kept under the fungi. So fungi are the true they doesn't have chlorophylls and they are talophytes. That means they looks like plants but they are not really plants at all. Okay, so these fungi are divided into four classes. So what are the four classes? Zygomycetes, ascomycetes, basidiomycetes, and deuteromycetes. So what are these zygomycetes? What are these ascomycetes? Actually, just by seeing the properties, they are classified into these four types. In zygomycetes, they will form a small zygote-like structures during reproduction. So the fungi that will form these zygote-like structures are kept under zygomycetes. So then ascomycetes. In ascomycetes, they contain spores, sexual spores within the sac. So in ascomycetes, they are kept in a sac. That is why they are called ascomycetes. Then basidiomycetes means they will contain a dome-like structure like umbrella. So the fungus that have this dome-like structure are kept under basidiomycetes. Then you have your deuteromycetes. So deuteromycetes means they are not definitely have a proper definite symmetry. So I will show you the diagrams of each zygomycete and each classes. So the first one is zygomycetes. So zygomycetes have lower fungi having non-septate hyphae, and they form sexual spores called sporangiospores. So all zygomycetes have sporangiospores. So this is how your sporangiospore looks like. So this is zygomycota, and this is a sporangiospore, and it have a long slender-like filaments. Okay, so this is the zygomycota. Then your second one is ascomycota. So in ascomycota, as I said, they have a sac-like structure. So this is a sac-like structure. So within this sac, the spores are present. So this is ascomycota. By the way, the example for zygomycota is rhizophus, and the example for ascomycota is Candida albicans, and blastomyces. So these are the two examples for ascomycota. Then in basidiomycota, as I said, it will have a basidium, a umbrella-like structure. So this is the classical example for basidiomycota. So all mushrooms have this umbrella-like structure. So mushrooms are categorized under basidiomycota. Then last and final is your deuteromycetes. So deuteromycetes means they lack a known sexual state. So they don't have a proper sexual state. So they include your non-sexual reproduction fungi. So this is how your deuteromycete looks like. So this is the taxonomical classification of fungi. So according to taxonomical classification, fungus are kept under the phylum Talophyta. So in Talophyta, all these organisms have their irregular plant masses, and they doesn't have root, stem, and leaf. And in Talophyta, there are two types. fungi and algae. Algae has chlorophyll and fungi doesn't have chlorophyll. So in fungi we have 4 classes: Zygomycota, Ascomycota, Basidiomycota and Deuteromycetes. Zygomycota example is Rhizophus, and Ascomycota example is Candidiasis, where it has a sac-like structure, and Basidiomycota have a example is Cryptococcus, and it has a umbrella-like basidium-like structure, and Deuteromycetes. So this is the taxonomical classification of fungi. Then let us see the morphological classification of fungi. So in morphological classification of fungi, we have 4 types: yeast-like fungi, molds, and dimorphic fungi. So there are totally 4 types: yeast-like fungi, molds, and dimorphic. So what are these? Let us see the morphology. So depending upon their shape and size, they are categorized into these 4 types. Okay, depending upon how they looks like, depending upon the shape. So if it is just a small dot, just a small spherical body, means it is called yeast, like your cocci, your bacteria cocci. If it is a single cell spherical spherical structure, means it is called yeast. So let me start with yeast. So these are the yeasts. So yeasts are round, oval, unicellular fungi. So they are round or oval shaped, single cell, unicellular fungi, and they reproduce by budding. That means, so this is the yeast cell, and they will reproduce by budding, means they will form a small nodule, and this nodule will become larger, and they will split into 2 separate yeast cells. So this form of reproduction is called budding. So your yeasts will reproduce by budding. And when we culture these yeasts in a SDS medium, in Sabrodestrous agar medium, SDA medium, you will get creamy or mucoid colonies on the culture medium. I will show you the medium here. So on the culture medium, we will get mucoid colonies. So this is the characteristic feature of yeast. And the best example yeast present in this fungi is Cryptococcus neoforms. So Cryptococcus neoforms is a systemic fungal infection which will affect your brain. So you will get brain infection due to Cryptococcus neoforms. So this is the best example for yeast. So what are the 4 points? They are round or oval in shape. They will reproduce by budding. On culture media, they will produce a creamy or mucoid colonies. And the best example is Cryptococcus neoforms. Cryptococcus neoforms will get brain infection. It is a fungal infection which will affect to the brain. It is a systemic fungal infection. Okay. So then second one is your yeast-like fungi. So what is yeast-like fungi? Yeast-like fungi means they will looks like a yeast but not totally yeast. They will form a partial slender-like structures, a partial thin stem-like structures. So those thin stem-like structures are called pseudohyphae. So they will form pseudohyphae. Let me show you the diagram. So these are the yeast-like fungi, where these are the yeasts, and these yeast cells have a slender-like structure. So this slender-like structure is called pseudohyphae. So this yeast-like fungi have this pseudohyphae. So let me show you the original image, how it looks like. So this is the culture of Candida. So in this Candida, you can see yeast cells and a false hyphal-like structure. Hyphal-like means stem-like structure. Okay. So these are called pseudohyphae, right? So this is how your yeast-like fungi looks like. Then coming to your third one, which is molds. So molds means these will have slender filaments, hyphae. Hyphae are called slender filaments, or the stem-like structures are called hyphae. So all molds will have this hyphae, and this is the best example if you are fungal fungus to the bread. So to the bread or to our pickles, we will see that web-like fungus, right? And that is molds. So small string-like structures will be formed in this when these pickles or bread is decomposed. And there you will see classical molds. Okay, molds are a form of fungus. So they will have these hyphal-like structures. So what is this molds? So they grow as a branching filaments called hyphae. So usually with 2 to 10 microns in width, and hyphae, this hyphae can be either septate or non-septate. So the formed hyphae may have septums or they don't have septums. That depends. Okay. So these hyphae may grow. Now there is one more thing. If we are culturing this fungus on a medium, on SDA medium, If the hyphae growing above the medium means that is called aerial hyphae. So let me show you one example here. So this is the medium. If the branching filaments, if the filaments growing above the medium means it is called aerial mycelium. So if they are growing above the medium means they are called aerial mycelium. Okay. Now if they are growing below the medium means they are called vegetative mycelium. See, if they are growing below the medium means they are called vegetative mycelium. They are called vegetative mycelium. So the one which is growing above the medium is called aerial mycelium, and the one above the growing below the medium is called vegetative mycelium. Got it right? Aerial mycelium and vegetative mycelium. This is your vegetative mycelium. Other than this, they reproduce by different types of sexual and asexual spores, and the best example for molds is your Aspergillus, Penicillium, Rhizopus are the examples for molds. What are those? Aspergillus, Penicillium, and Rhizopus are the examples of molds. Okay. So last and final is your. So this is my molds notes. You can refer that. As I said, this septum can be either septate. This hyphae can be either septate hyphae or non-septate hyphae. So this is septate hyphae and this is non-septate hyphae. So I already shared notes with you. You can go through it, the textbook. Then last and final is your dimorphic fungi. So what are these dimorphic fungi? So these will show two forms. The same fungus will show both the forms. So it will show the yeast-like morphology, and the same fungi will show mold-like morphology. That means hyphal-like morphology, depending upon the temperature. So depending upon the temperature, they will change their shape. So that is why they call dimorphic fungi. So they have two morphologies. So that is why they call two morphology fungi. So classically what happens means at the body's temperature, at the temperature of our body, that means 37 degrees centigrade, they will be in yeast form. So at 37 degrees centigrade, they will be in yeast form, and at lesser than 37, that means lesser than 37 means 22 to 25 degrees centigrade, they will be in mold form or mycelial form. So this is the characteristic feature of dimorphic fungi. They will show two morphologies at two different temperatures. At body temperature, yeast form, and at a room temperature, that means lesser than 37 degrees centigrade, they will be in mycelial form. So let me show you that. So the best examples for a dimorphic fungi are blastomyces, paracoccidoidosis, coccidoidosis, histoplasma capsulatum, sporothrix kenki are the best examples for dimorphic fungi. Don't worry, in the future classes, all this you need to memorize, all the names of this fungi. Okay, there is no other choice. So at body's temperature, these fungi will show yeast-like morphology, and at the room temperature, they will show mold-like morphology. So that is why they are called dimorphic fungi. So this is how your fungus are classified. So a brief summary of class. So basically, our fungus are classified into two types: taxonomical classification and morphological classification. According to taxonomical classification, your fungus belongs to the phylum Thallophyta, and in this Thallophyta we have plant-like structures, but they are not plants. They doesn't have definite root, stem, or leaf, and they that's it. They are called thallophytes. Within the Thallophyta we have four classes. So in mycology we have the fungus have four classes. What are those four classes? Zygomycota, Basidiomycota, Ascomycota, and Deuteromycota. So if you see Zygomycota, these zygomycetes have zygote-like structures, and the best example is Rhizopus, and they have sporangiospores, a ball-like spores. So they are called sporangiospores. And in Ascomycota, these spores are present within a sac. So that is why they are called Ascomycota. So this is the example for Ascomycota. So they are under the spores. They are under the sac-like structure. Then you have your Basidiomycota. So in Basidiomycota you have your umbrella-like structure. So they are called Basidiomycota. So the mushroom is the best example for Basidiomycota. Mushroom obviously is a fungus. Keep in mind. Then your Deuteromycetes contains your these like structures. So they are imperfect. They doesn't have proper symmetry. So they are your Deuteromycetes. Then according to morphological classification, these fungus are of 4 types: yeast-like fungi, molds, and dimorphic fungi. So yeast-like fungus include their single cell, unicellular, spherical or oval shaped bodies, and they will reproduce by budding, and they will form creamy layered colonies on the SDA medium. And the best example of yeast is Cryptococcus neoforms. Then second one is yeast-like fungi. So this yeast-like fungi will have a small hyphal-like structure, but that is not a true hyphae, and that is called pseudo-hyphae. So presence of pseudo-hyphae is a characteristic feature for yeast-like fungi. So the best example is Candida, and this is your pseudo-hyphae, and these are the yeast cells, and these are pseudo-hyphae. Then this is the microscopic image of your pseudo-hyphae. This is the pseudo-hyphae. Okay. So then you have molds. Molds means these are slender stem-like structures with 2 to 10 micrometers in width. And these hyphae, if these hyphae are growing above the medium, means they are called aerial mycelium. If these hyphae growing below the medium, means they are called vegetative mycelium. Okay. Then the best example for this molds is Aspergillus penicillium rhizopus. Okay. Then last and final is your dimorphic fungi. By the way, the molds, this hyphae can be either a septate hyphae or non-septate hyphae or aseptate hyphae. Then your dimorphic fungi. So dimorphic fungi will show both yeast-like morphology and mycelial-like morphology depending upon the temperature. So at body temperature, they will show yeast-like morphology, and in room temperature, they will show mycelial, hyphal morphology. So that is the best example. That is the characteristic feature of dimorphic fungi. So what are the examples for dimorphic fungi? Blastomyces dermatitis, Paracoccidido brasiliensis, Coccidido imitis, and Histoplasma capsulatum are the examples for dimorphic fungi. So this is how your dimorphic fungi looks. So at the body temperature at 37 degrees centigrade, they looks like a yeast, and at room temperature, that means less than 35, that means around 20 to 25 degrees centigrade, they looks like mold form. So this is all about your classification of fungi. Thank you, students.